Hi class, this is lesson 17, rounding and estimating for course 3. For most of you this will be review, so you should be able to watch this fairly quickly. Round 2,893,931 to the nearest thousand. Okay, so thousands place is right here. Okay, so underline that and circle the one right behind it. So based on this 9, do I keep the 3 a 3 or do I make it a 4? That's the question you ask. And remember, on 5 and greater we go up, and 4 and less we stay the same. Okay, so we're going to keep the digits in front of the underline the same. And then at the underline we have to decide, is that going to stay a 3 or go to a 4? So hopefully you know it's a 4. And then the circled digit turns to 0, and so does everything behind it. Okay, so that's rounded to the nearest thousand. Decimal numbers, when we want to round to 2 decimal places, it's the same type of process. Identify where the second decimal place is, circle the digit behind it. Now, I don't expect you to do the underline and circle on your paper. Certainly do that if that helps you, but I'm not looking for it. Okay, but if we get to a position where we're making mistakes, we might have to use that as a tool. Again, the rules: 5 and greater go up, 4 and fewer stay the same. So we're going to write all the digits up to the underlined digit, so it's 9.8. And then we have to make a decision. Do we stay a 2 or do we become a 3? Well, it's a 1, 4 or fewer, so we're going to leave it a 2. Now, with decimals, we do not need the trailing zeros. Okay? So up here, we had a whole number, right? There'd be a decimal here. So we need to fill in those zeros for placeholders. But when we're talking about zeros in the decimal portion of the number, we don't need those if they're just at the end. So wherever we underline, that's where we stop. 2 decimal places should be 2 decimal places. Okay? Rounding to the nearest whole number. If I have a number like 3 and 5/8 and I want to round to the nearest whole number, I need to evaluate the fraction for its relationship to 1/2. Is it less than a half or more than a half? Okay, because that's what we do here. If it's 5 or greater, if it's a half or greater, we bump the number up, or if it's 4 or fewer, we stay the same. So what is this number, 5/8, related to a half? Is it 1/2? Is it less than a half, or is it greater than a half? What you can do is, what is the fraction that would have an 8 as a denominator that represents half? Well, 2 times 8 is 4, so 1 times 4 is 4. So compare 4/8, that's half, to 5/8. Well, 5/8 would be our circled digit, right? And the 3 would be underlined. 5/8 is greater than a half, so we would round up and 3 would become 4, and that would be our answer. Same thing with decimals. If you have 2.841 and we want to round to the nearest whole number, we underline the 2, we circle the 8, and we decide 8 is a 5 or greater, so we would change that to a 3. Here's the thing with estimating. So we've been rounding numbers, now we're going to estimate. We would usually round to the nearest whole number before performing calculations. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it. Then you have a bunch of zeros and you just multiply. It makes, or add or subtract or whatever it is, but it makes your calculations so much easier to do, and that's the whole purpose of estimating. But the other thing you can do is you can check to see if your answer is reasonable. And I've talked about checking to see if your answers are reasonable. After you do whatever calculation you're asked to do with a problem, you can always estimate to see if your answer is close. Is your answer reasonable? Okay, if you get back and an answer and you say no, then you have to double check your estimating or double check your calculations on your problem. But here's one way that we can use estimating in a problem. If you make $12.32 per hour and work 40 hours per week, estimate how much you would make in a year. And a year is 52 weeks. Okay, well, I don't like this number here, and I don't like this number, because they have numbers other than zeros at the end, and that makes my calculations difficult. But I can round $12.32 to the nearest whole number, and that would be $12. And I know that dollars per hour times number of hours per week, that will get me the amount of money I make per week, and then I would need to multiply it times the amount of weeks in a year. Well, this is 52, and I still don't like that one because it has that 2 there. So I can round that to 50. And again, it's just an estimation. So I'm going to be close. Not exact, but close. So let's see, 40 times 50. I'm going to do those first. Associative property there. So that'll be 12 times, what's 4 times 5 is 20. And then I have 2 zeros to add. So now 12 times 2, I know that that is 24. And then I have 3 zeros to tack on. So you would make $24,000 approximately in a year. Okay, this should have been review. If you have some concerns, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in class.